Hello and welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for today's immigration conversation. And of course, I have here with me the one and only Attorney Sharif Somi. Hi, Sharif. Maybe you'd
Hey,
like.
Mary, how are you?
I'm good, and I'm very, very excited.
Good, good. Likewise, I'm glad to join and be a part of this conversation once again.
Yes. Okay. So I think that everybody knows. In fact, I've received like feedback, I've received comments, and a lot of questions. Many of our existing clients and, of course, would-be clients are definitely tuned in and they would like to learn more about membership. Okay. So I did look it up, and the formal term, right, in the USCIS website states that one of the criteria is having evidence of your membership and associations in the field which demand outstanding achievement of their members. So maybe,
Yes.
we've heard the words, but we need Attorney Sharif Somi to explain what is
Sure.
membership
Sure.
criteria.
I'm just going to go a little bit further. So the statute actually states that one who has membership in an association in their field that requires outstanding achievement as judged by national or international experts within the field may use that as evidence to demonstrate that they are recognized within their particular area of endeavor. So we are always interested in looking at membership as a way that one may enhance their profile or perhaps demonstrate to an adjudicator that they are indeed having either exceptional ability, and that is where we're talking about a E21 national interest waiver scenario. So those who are not familiar, when we're looking at a national interest waiver, if you do not have a master's degree, you can still apply for national interest waiver by demonstrating 3 criteria. And among those criterion include, for example, having a bachelor's degree rather than a master's degree, having
Mhm.
more than 10 years of work experience,
Mhm.
and being a member of a professional organization that requires outstanding achievement as judged by national or international experts in the field.
Mhm.
Likewise, within the EB1A extraordinary ability requirement, we do also look at whether membership can qualify. Now, I do want to make something very, very plain here, because often folks think about qualification for EB1A as requiring 3 criterion in order to demonstrate that they qualify. But
Mhm.
that is not really true. Actually, there are 3 requirements under the statute to demonstrate that one qualifies as an individual of extraordinary ability. And that is that, number 1, they have or that they can demonstrate that they have prospectively, or they will, prospectively benefit the United States.
Okay.
Secondly, that they have already achieved sustained acclaim that is recognized within the field, and that they'll continue to work in their field of endeavor. 3 requirements, right? The
Mhm.
second requirement, that you demonstrate that you have already achieved sustained acclaim that
Mhm.
is recognized in your area of endeavor. That is where we're talking about membership. That membership can be an example of recognition. So what we're looking at is that the fact that you've attained membership in an organization that requires outstanding achievement
Mhm.
as judged by national or international experts is symbolic, or is evidence that you are indeed recognized as having sustained acclaim in your field. So
Mhm.
I just want to bring this back to the statute and help you understand and help everybody out there understand it's all about demonstrating recognition. Now, when we're demonstrating recognition, particularly for those of you who are in business or technology related endeavors, you
Mhm.
need to understand that recognition is not going to be made primarily through membership. In fact, I would argue that membership is a supplemental criteria rather than a fundamental criteria. Where one is, for example, a technology or an engineer, or involved in, for example, maybe even in medicine, I actually hold that having an original, either healthcare related, business related, technology related contribution of major significance
Mhm.
is more fundamental to demonstrating expertise. Likewise, performance in a critical or leading role is more fundamental to demonstrating that they are recognized as an expert. And of course, salary is more fundamental than in demonstrating that they're recognized experts.
Okay.
Supplementally, we can also argue that being a member of an organization will demonstrate that you are also recognized.
Mhm.
Reviewing and judging the work of others can also be supplemental evidence to demonstrate that you are recognized. Authorship of published work can also demonstrate the fact if you're mentioned in the media, or if you have lesser national or international awards. I believe those four are actually supplemental in a sense that they're not going to be the foundational or fundamental reason why one who is in a business or technology related field will qualify as having demonstrated recognition for their area of expertise. So I
Mhm.
know that was a lot, but I just want to
Yeah.
make
So like I mean that is the question that I was gonna ask you next. So I'm saying how important, many people ask how important is it that we qualify it, since you already said that it's supplemental, more supplemental than fundamental. Do you think it's maybe not worth pursuing if I can satisfy the first three that you mentioned already, if I have good salary, let's say, or if I can show that I've done a critical role in a company, I don't have to like maybe bother pursuing a membership, right? Is that
Well, I still think it's worthwhile because I think the value of demonstrating membership is to show the adjudicator that you have already been evaluated and it has been determined that you have made outstanding achievements in your field. And that is why I think it's really, really important to pay close attention to the overall requirements of membership, not only just kind of a surface level understanding where people just tend to maybe provide a certificate or a membership card. That's not enough because you really want to explain to the adjudicator what is the value proposition of the membership as it relates to being recognized within my particular area of endeavor. So with that, I would like to share a presentation. Let's see if I could pull it off this time.
okay?
Last time I said I'm going to share. Oh, it worked. Wow. Last time I said I'm going to share a presentation and it never actually was shared. So I was just sort of talking without one, but this time it actually worked. So that's nice. Look, there is a 3-part test for membership. And we know that this membership requires, of course, that one show that they are actually going to have proof of that membership, right? So this is the first part of the test. So it's a 3-part test.
Mhm.
Part number 1 is to demonstrate that you have proof of membership. And I believe there's a hierarchy of evidence where, for example, there is, evidence that there's a better way to show proof of membership. In my opinion, that would be a letter of good standing, right? Like a letter of good standing from the president of the organization or from the individual responsible to confirm membership. That to me is a better evidence because it'll be dated, it'll be very clear, and you could sort of insert some language in there regarding what kind of achievements, or the organization rather can insert language in there regarding what kind of achievements are needed in order to acquire that membership. So that could be a really great way to show that you are, having this membership. Likewise, a membership card, I mean, that will satisfy the plain language of the statute that you have proof of membership or a membership certificate.
Okay.
Now, if you have, membership portal access, and within that portal, it says, member so-and-so, and it has your name and it has a membership number, and it shows that you're an active member. You can use a screenshot of that membership portal, but it may not be the best evidence.
Yeah.
So it's, one should try to always, get the best evidence they can rather than rely on maybe the easiest evidence that they can
Yes.
get. So proof of membership, that's the first requirement when it comes to demonstrating membership. It's not the only one, as some people like to say. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, Mary, one thing I hear so much from people is, you know, so-and-so tried this particular kind of membership and it was denied. Or, you know, you hear just general statements. This particular kind of membership is, you know, not acceptable. So-and-so tried it and it didn't work. The question is, you know, did they actually submit all three parts of the requirement, or did they just do a surface level proof of membership and then left it alone, right? So the next requirement is where I think it gets a little bit interesting, right? So you have proof of membership
Mm-hmm.
that requires outstanding achievement.
Okay,
So
not just anyone can be part of it.
exactly, not anyone can be a part. I used to say, you know, if I can be a member, then it's you probably don't, you know, need outstanding achievement, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we're talking about here is membership that requires, you know, like for example, it has specific language in the bylaws of the organization, in the constitution of the organization. If they have a membership qualification page, what we're looking for here is objective evidence that it requires an elevated level of expertise
Mm-hmm.
in order to become a member, right? So I want to avoid going into specific examples today,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, I know that there are going to be, you know, folks asking, you know, this membership work or that membership work. The point I really, really want to communicate is that it's how you present the evidence and, you know, making sure that it meets the specific language of the statute. So, for example, one of the you know comments here states that some membership from a recognized U.S. institution are basically paid. So if
Yeah.
you pay, and how will you get membership? How to use it in an EB1A, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're saying is that paid memberships are generally not going to be based on outstanding achievement. If
Yeah.
the only requirement is that you're a member of a particular profession and that you're paying a fee, it's probably not going to do well. Does that
Mhm.
make sense?
Yeah.
And then go ahead. I didn't want to cut you off if you had a question.
Yeah, no, yeah. I was gonna comment, yeah, on that. And there's another client who's asking, but I think basically we answered this already, right? If certifications or certificates work. So I think, yeah, you said that already. That's the first slide. Whereas, you know, you have to present your card, certificates, and proof, right? Although he's asking if technology certification or project management and cybersec certificates. I think
Yeah.
he's it has to relate to your field of endeavor, right?
Yeah, well, it's actually a pretty good question, you know, because here what he's asking about is whether like a particular certification may be evidence of membership. So
Mhm.
I think that we can take this in a couple of ways. Number one, if we're thinking about a national interest waiver scenario, demonstrating that one has licenses or certifications to practice their profession is considered evidence of exceptional ability for the purposes of demonstrating the
Mhm.
E21 analysis, where
Mm.
you can overcome not having a master's degree.
Uh-huh.
Within an EB1A context, to demonstrate extraordinary ability, having certifications will not satisfy the requirement. So, a license of, for example, an engineering license or a certification in a particular, you know, like there's Scrum certifications or there is, you know, cybersecurity certifications. So those generally will not demonstrate that one is, you know, a part of a membership-based organization, right? Having a certificate, even a license, does not make you necessarily a member of a professional organization, although it can. So it does not by default demonstrate that you are a member of a professional organization that meets the outstanding achievement requirement. But it is possible that either a professional organization might have as part of its requirements that you have certification within a particular area, right? So, like, for example, there might be a cybersecurity membership-based organization, in fact, there is, that requires that you are a member of a particular, organization. I'm sorry, that you are having a particular kind of certification. So that could be one level of achievement that is required in order to be a member of an organization, right? So there you might have actual, evidence of being a member. Now, what's really important to understand here is, how do you document this activity? I would actually encourage folks to not only provide the adjudicator, the bylaws, or the Constitution, or the membership qualification page, but if I'm presenting a case, I will go far beyond that. I will also look to what are the documents that were submitted in order to acquire membership. Now, in looking at those documents, some of the documents will be helpful for you in demonstrating that this indeed required outstanding achievement, and some of the documents will not be helpful. So having a qualified, experienced attorney be able to assess what documents to present and what documents not to present will be very, very important for you in pursuing this sort of thing. So you got to be really careful about what you submit and also what you don't submit.
Okay, so like I'm seeing a lot of questions coming in, so I just want to quickly address them before we proceed to the next slide, Sharif, if that's okay.
Sure.
So if is certification, Mr. Abhishek is asking, is certification same as licensing? And he's also asking that, engineering licenses in particular are issued by a board of professional engineers, and only the licensee can be a member of the board. So, being a licensed member, can you also use it, right, to satisfy membership?
I mean, being a licensed member, being a licensed engineer is definitely going to help you in a national interest waiver scenario. And I think it's really also helpful in a EB1A scenario as well. It's not in of itself going to satisfy the requirements of membership because there is no outstanding achievement requirement to hold a professional license, right?
Mhm.
You essentially need to have a certain educational level and pass a test, right? But they're not looking and seeing like, okay, did you, succeed in building a particular, kind of, freeway overpass or something that made a impact on a large number of, individuals, right? So there might be, but the thing I would say is that if you have a professional license, it may be a gateway or it may be a ticket for you to then acquire other elevated professional memberships, but in of itself, I would not find it to, satisfy the requirement of membership.
Okay, so like, please do correct me if I'm wrong, Sharif, but just so to make it to chew it for other people. So it's something like this scenario. So I'm a doctor. Let's say I'm a really good cancer researcher, right? Of course, I have my certifications and my licenses, right? So that's great. But to qualify, I mean, to like maybe to satisfy the membership criteria, it's not just it's well, I am a good doctor, I'm a researcher, but I have to be invited, right? Let's say, example, be invited in this elite group of researchers before I can really say that, that I satisfy the membership criteria, right? So licensing, certificates, I mean, licenses and certificates are good, but we have to go back again to extraordinary ability, right?
Yeah, I
Let's
mean, so there's no invitation requirement in the statute. There is an
okay.
acceptance requirement, right? So you have to be
Okay.
accepted. You have to, you have to have qualified for membership based on having outstanding achievement.
Okay.
So you can actually, you can initiate the acquisition of membership.
Oh, okay. That's great.
But the idea is that you have also initiated the acquisition of membership that is having requirements that are parallel or similar to other requirements within the EB1A criterion. So,
Criteria.
for
Okay.
example, there might be a requirement for particular memberships that one has made significant achievements in their field, right? And they've shown that they've made significant achievements in their field in order to acquire this membership, right? Or
Okay.
that they have, published a certain amount of articles, or that they perform in a leadership role for a particular organization. So if you have a membership where it says, in order to be included among the members, you must perform in a leadership role for a distinguished organization, then that may be evidence of requiring outstanding achievement.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to just make one point about that. There are memberships that are based on affiliation to one's company, right?
Okay.
That does not qualify. So if you are a member, if you're part of a company and the company is like a corporate member of an association, that does not work. You have to be a member based on your own individual standing and merit.
Oh, okay. Not like writing on, to the company membership.
Exactly.
Okay. And then like some clients, they come to us and then they present evidence that show, I'd like to volunteer. Is that like a word that they should do away with? Like
Well,
if
I think
I
volunteer to do what? I mean, exactly. I
need to
think
be a member.
sorry.
I mean, like in terms of wording, like is the word volunteer detrimental? Let's say, is it something that we cannot include as evidence? Because like the whole idea, some people think is, I have to be invited, or even if I initiated myself, it doesn't look like, I'm trying to volunteer. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
does the word volunteer give the impression to the service that anybody can just join?
No,
Or
I
not
don't think so.
necessarily?
I don't think so. I think that that's why the requirements of having outstanding achievement in order to be a member becomes relevant. Because even if you volunteer yourself for membership,
Mm-hmm.
it can still qualify so long as there were requirements that you met in order to become to actually volunteer and to be included as a member. So really with membership, it's interesting because you don't necessarily even need to show that you've been a member for a very long time.
Okay.
Rather, you ought to show that the long standing achievements that you have made enabled you to acquire this membership. So
Okay.
the mere fact that you've attained the membership
Mm-hmm.
is itself the key evidence that you
Okay.
met the outstanding achievement requirement that this objective third party organization has laid out. That is what the adjudicator is interested in.
Oh, I understand. Okay. Yeah,
All
that,
right.
that makes sense.
So we can maybe go on to the next slide. I do see there's some questions about
Yeah.
specific organizations. I am going to avoid those. So I think if folks want to reach out on an individual basis and ask specific questions, we can definitely, take that. The phone number can be shared and email as well. So maybe you can let them know how to reach out to us while I maybe take a sip of water.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, to those asking, I think you guys can see it. So it's silmilaw.com, and you can email us straight. It's info, very simple, info@silmilaw.com, and the numbers are there. So we'll be very happy to respond right away because some of the questions here are quite specific. Like what Sharif mentioned, it's better if we did a one-on-one with Attorney Sharif himself. So right now we want to, focus on like general questions, and everything. Although, okay, can we accommodate someone asking about EB1A and NIW though? I don't think this is related to membership, Sharif. But very quickly, does someone who own or run a U.S. business in the field of endeavor study in the process? Okay, how significant is it? Sorry, yeah, if you don't want to answer, that's fine because it's not.
No, I mean, I would just say, like, of course, people who are in business can definitely qualify, both depending on the specific facts for either EB1A extraordinary ability or national interest waiver. I think national interest waiver is particularly well suited for one who is an entrepreneur because of the last requirement of national interest waiver is a balance test. And in order to demonstrate that you meet the balance test, you want to show that it's impractical to have a permanent labor certification. And of course, one who's an entrepreneur or business owner, it's, you can't really sponsor yourself. So it is indeed difficult to acquire that labor certification. So I would say that entrepreneurs are really well suited for national interest waiver. I did see another question about one who's, I think it's from Ali, is asking if they're they can qualify for NIW with a bachelor's degree. And Ali, that's exactly what we're talking about, where you are having a bachelor's degree without a master's. You can still apply for national interest waiver, and having a membership is a really, really great way to demonstrate one of the 3 E21 exceptional ability requirements, right? So you must demonstrate exceptional ability. Exceptional ability is a lesser standard than extraordinary ability, and meeting the exceptional ability requirement includes having a bachelor's degree, having 10 plus years of experience in your field, and potentially membership in an organization such as we are, describing here. Now, and regarding somebody with a PhD, you don't have to go through the E21 analysis that we're describing here of exceptional ability. Because you have a PhD, you can go straight to the national interest waiver analysis. And there are 3 requirements under the national interest waiver analysis. Number 1, that you are working, or that you have a proposed endeavor in an area of national importance and substantial merit, that you are well positioned to advance the proposed endeavor, and having met the balance test. Basically, that the importance or the value of you in the US to advance your proposed endeavor is more weighty, or is worth more, heavier than the negative impact that would come about through not following the permanent labor certification process. Certainly, one with a PhD can qualify for national interest waiver, particularly if it's an area of social or national interest, and definitely if it's a STEM related category. So I just want to kind of come back now to the specific membership-based requirements. So we talked about the first 2, right? So the first is that you have proof of membership. The second is that you have proof of membership that is of requiring outstanding achievement, right? So proof of membership could be the letter of good standing, could be a certificate, it could be a membership card, that it requires outstanding achievement according to some objective documentation from the organization itself. And thirdly, that you are being judged by nationally recognized or internationally recognized experts in the field in order to demonstrate that you have outstanding achievement. This is the one that is always ignored by even my friends who are also immigration attorneys. I've never, ever seen anybody argue this point, unfortunately, but it's really, really essential and important to make sure that when you're submitting your membership criteria, that you argue all 3 points: membership, proof of membership, requiring outstanding achievement, as judged by national or international experts in the field. So how do you prove that it's being judged? Well, you have to present evidence. And the evidence should be, for example, the membership committee that evaluates whether one qualifies as having outstanding achievement, or individual profiles that state, for example, that they are judges or review committee members for a particular organization, and their profile indicates that they are experts in the field. So those are the areas, and those are the ways in which you want to have the holistic approach of demonstrating that you are a member of a particular area. So to summarize, there's a 3-part test of membership. You don't just dump a membership card and think that it's going to be good enough. It's definitely not going to be good enough, regardless of what organization that you are submitting for. All right, so hopefully that all helps you. Just to touch really quickly on that last question with regard to timeline, it's a case-by-case basis. It depends on your evidence. There is no one-size-fits-all scenario. There is no template approach that can certainly demonstrate that one is either qualifying for a national interest waiver or an EB1A, we're going to present a uniquely tailored approach that's going to be specific to each and every client. So there's no real answer to how long a case will take until we look at the specific case and make a determination of, first of all, whether it even is sufficient to qualify for the requirements, and secondly, what it will take to maybe make it stronger and how long that might take.
Okay, so you've shared a lot. Thank you so much for elucidating us, Attorney Sharif Silmi. So just a few important points. Number one, even if Attorney Sharif said that membership is more supplemental than fundamental, I believe that it's still worth, right? It's still worth pursuing, especially if you want to really get your green card via the EB1A or NIW route. And second, again, we are here to help you and serve you. It's very important that you do your part, but it's more important, I believe, to get the right guidance, right, from an attorney in a firm who is not just qualified but is very experienced and who has that insight to know what to present, right, and what not to present, and most especially how to present it. So I think, we have a lot of questions, and yes, we'll be very happy and we'll be waiting for your calls and emails. Once again, I think we're flashing everything on the screen along with our email. That's info@silmilaw.com. But Attorney Sharif has so many calls waiting for him. So many clients are calling and everything. But we do hope that you do subscribe, especially on our Facebook and our Instagram account, so that you'll know, right, when our next live sessions will be. But of course, before we let Attorney Sharif go, any advice, any takeaways for our wonderful clients and those who are tuned in today?
I think my advice has always been pretty consistent, and that's that you should take matters into your own hands. I think for those of you who are, highly skilled, you kind of know what you're doing, you understand well that, particularly in an economy such as we have today, that there's it's foolish to depend solely on your employer, and that, having self-petition options is really a great way to put yourself and your family in a better, more stable position. So that's it. I mean, just take matters into your own hands. That's the way we go about it.
Yes, and just one final question, Attorney Sharif. Since you said that you should take matters into your own hands, does this mean that if I take matters into my own hands and file an NIW versus depending on an EB2 employer that's sponsored by an employer, will it mean that things will be much faster in terms of processing?
I think so, absolutely, because you don't have to deal with perm, you don't have to deal with the employer filing for labor certification. You avoid the whole Department of Labor scenario. And notably, today, January 30th, is the first day that one may file for national interest waiver with premium processing. So it's an additional $2,500 fee, but you can file with premium processing. And in that case, you have a decision within 45 days. So that's really big news that's effective today.
Okay. So thank you so much, Sharif. Thank you so much, everybody, especially to those who continue to trust our firm and to those who are asking and inquiring. I'll be very happy to meet you and respond to your emails and calls. But for now, we hope to see you in the next live session. Thank you, Sharif. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Mary.